Dear brothers, welcome to my channel. Last week we were going through wheel loaders. I already mentioned that there are many instances where people in the industry get confused of a variety of loaders. I also mentioned that there are some considerations for specifying a wheel loader for a particular job. You know that choosing the right wheel loader will increase the efficiency of operation and also the productivity. Now, let us see what are those important considerations. Well, I can still remember my childhood where we kids in our friend circle used to ask very tricky questions. For example, one of those questions were if you have 1 ton of iron and 1 ton of cotton, which is heavier? Of course, this is an age old question. A few MX will say iron is heavier because it is solid and rigid. A few others will say cotton because it is bulky. But the most thoughtful one will say both of them are equal in weight. Later on, we learned that if you take 1 ton of iron and 1 ton of cotton, mass is the same, but volume occupied by each of them is different. You know that mass is the amount of matter and the volume is the space required for the matter to occupy. You know the term density, which is the mass divided by volume of an object. Also, you know that density of a material is inversely proportional to its volume. It means when the density goes higher, the volume will be lower. We know that iron occupies less volume than cotton. That's why iron has higher density than cotton. You may wonder what this basic school lesson has to do with a wheel loader here. Yes, I don't blame anyone because most people focus on choosing a heavy wheel loader with a heavy bucket, but the selection may not be the right always. Yes, the size of the machine and bucket really matters, but you know it is essential to consider the density of material in order to choose the right bucket. You may need to handle different kinds of materials such as sand, rubble, plastics, metal scraps. So the selection of bucket is crucial in your application. You know the density varies from material to material. So if you have a case of multiple material loading application, the highest density would be considered. It means your selection of bucket is based on the heaviest material. So the first point is that we must know the density of material even before we choose the material and the bucket. I mean the machine and the bucket. The second point is to understand your application, your project scope, and also volume of your work. For example, we should know what kind of material to be lifted up, how much material that you need to move per day. So understanding volume of work is key in selection process. Always look for a machine with suitable power option for that particular job. I mean, machine horsepower is an important factor. That's why, in order to make sure your machine hydraulics work efficiently, you need your operation cycle time to be shortened. A compact wheel loader may be less than, say, 80 horsepower. A small type, if you take, will be something between 80 to 150 horsepower. A medium type will be between 150 to 200 horsepower. And if you take a heavy wheel loader, it would be something around 200 horsepower. So, suitable power selection is very important. Another factor is to look for higher lifting capacity, so you reduce your cycle of operations. Once you reach your target with minimum time, the productivity of the operation will be increased. You should know that tipping load, which is an indication of the safe working load permitted. Once you know the tipping load, the machine can perform without any concern of stability. Another factor is to know the breakout force. Please refer to my previous video, part 22, for more explanation on this breakout force. The breakout force has a direct impact on productivity, so we should take a note of this. This information of breakout force is available on the equipment brochure on most of the occasions. One of the biggest expenses that an equipment operator has to bear with is the fuel. So fuel efficiency is also very important. Now, normally fuel efficiency is linked to operator practices. I mean, his nature, his behavior of use. Also, your machine should be capable of working throughout the shift with minimum refueling intervals. It means that your machine should have a higher capacity fuel tank, and of course it should be fuel efficient as well. You know that there are many attachments possible with the wheel loader to handle specific jobs. The selection of attachment must be it should be most suitable for that particular kind of job. Also, the machine should be capable of engaging and disengaging the attachments as quickly as possible. The efficiency comes from the operator when he is able to change the attachment within short period of time. Normally, quick coupler system is operated within the cabin for engaging and disengaging an attachment. So greasing is very important for proper functioning. Also, you know that there are couplers designed to operate without greasing, and those kind of couplers will reduce the maintenance cost. And you know that most common attachment in a wheel loader is a bucket. Right selection of the bucket size is very important in all the applications. It is also important to select optimal operating weight, horsepower, torque, traction, lift capacity, and also the lift height. There are instances where we need to work in confined areas. Here we can't use very large wheel loaders, but we require the power and performance of a large wheel loader. In this case, we need to choose a smaller size wheel loader with good lift capacities, tipping loads, breakout force, and also fast cycle time. Normally, wheel loaders in, say, 150 horsepower size is an ideal one for most of such applications. If your wheel loader can complete more than, say, more cycle times, your efficiency will be increased and you make money out of it. A bucket size of, say, between 2 to 2.8 cubic meters is an ideal specification when using with the right wheel loader. One of the toughest jobs with a wheel loader is to carry out initial ground preparation of a project site. For example, in case you need to prepare initially a job site in a dense area where there is a forest or a lot of trees, roots and bushes, it is important to have a machine which is rigid enough. One of the most vulnerable components is the hydraulic hose, and so it needs to be protected. The machine should be designed and manufactured to protect the hydraulic hoses and also other key components. Particularly, there should be shields to protect the front glass and lights. So these things should be considered for the right selection whenever you think of an application. Another important point is the tires. The tires should be proper to work in harsh environments. Once you have the most appropriate tires in place, there will be less damage due to overloading. You know that overloading can damage the vital parts of the machine like tires, and it can also decrease the efficiency of your machine. The selection of tires is according to the application. Some people specify wider tires or specific tire pattern. For example, in case of gravel or quarry, there are dedicated tires. If you use radial tires, we can get good traction and control at higher speed. If you use solid tires, you can comfortably use in scrap. If there is a soft or sandy area, it is better to use flotation type tires. Most importantly, choosing the right dealer and brand is important in your selection process. It is essential to maintain suitable consumables and recommended spare parts in advance, in order to shorten the idle time in your maintenance. It is essential to replace with genuine parts for lasting performance and also to fulfill your rights of warranty. I hope that I have given an overall knowledge of this great product, and please share with me your thoughts. Also, please share this information with your friends and colleagues, and let me have your feedback as well. Thank you for watching, and God willing, we'll be joining soon next week, and goodbye.